Alright guys, we're going to be looking at my Crosman 2289 backpacker today. This came from one of those doomsday packages that they offer. So it comes with a cheap little backpack and some targets, a first aid kit. And I actually do use this with my bug out bag. This would be like my primary hunting rifle for small game. So we're just going to look at some of the features here. Starting with the detachable stock, this basically you push this button, this comes off, so it helps to breaks it off into two pieces. It helps to reduce the overall length of the gun, so you can pack it up and put it in your pack, and it's not going to be the full length. It's just about here. As far as on the stock itself, I've got about 50 to 60 feet of paracord tied around it, and I actually kind of like that because you can loop stuff between here. You can put little ammo packs in there. It also helps on the cheek rest. It makes it a little more comfortable. And then obviously in the worst case scenario, you can take off the paracord and you'll have that at your disposal. I've got another piece of paracord here which I use as kind of like a sling. So I put this over one arm or one shoulder. Allows the rifle to hang across my side straight down. So I don't need a traditional sling. I can just throw my arm through that and carry it along with me. Much easier than holding my hands the whole time. This does come off too, so if I don't want it on there, I can just take that off. Some of the other features of the gun here, I've done a lot of mods to it. The obvious one is the paint job. You're not going to see that too often. Essentially, I just spray painted this, put a primer down, and then I think I used some sort of like desert tan. And then I just took various other colors, green, brown, beige, and used a sponge and just kind of dabbed it to give it this kind of random deserty look. And in a desert environment, this really does blend in quite well. You can just lay it on the rocks on the ground and you can't even really tell it's there because this pattern kind of looks like gravel from a distance. As far as actual mods for the performance and accuracy, I've done quite a bit here. The scope, I forget what kind of scope it is. It's a mil-dot scope I got off of Pyramid Air. And it's got these flip up scope caps here. Those are convenient. Keep the dust out. It's got a nice sight picture to it. As far as everything else here, I've got a metal barrel band, detachable roll pins, which make it a lot easier to take the gun apart. The barrel band helps for accuracy. The stock barrel band is plastic, and it makes the barrel loose, and the barrel actually wobbles, which is just terrible for accuracy. Consider that a design flaw, but it's something you can fix with aftermarket mods, so I fixed it. Got a metal barrel brake here. That's mainly just for aesthetics. It doesn't really do much as far as performance. Doesn't really baffle the noise at all. I've got a little piece of felt right there to help muffle the noise when you cock it, because it can get pretty loud cocking this thing, or pumping it I should say. This is a steel breech. The stock one is plastic, so I upgraded to steel. I've also upgraded the bolt probe, which is an extended bolt probe, which pushes the pellet a little further down the barrel to give it a little more power. I've added a little plastic knob here, which just makes the ergonomics a little better when cocking this thing. The valve itself inside, I've angled the port on it, drilled it out a little bit to give it a little more volume inside, which hopefully gives it a little more pressure. Not too much, but gives you a little more power out of it. The trigger, this is steel stick epoxy, which I've used to make a trigger shoe. You can buy trigger shoes from Crosman, but I've made my own. Essentially it's just putty. You manipulate it It sets in about 5 minutes, so you just press it onto the trigger. It'll harden around it, and then I took my Dremel tool and kind of shaped it out and sanded it, so it gives it a nice thick beefy trigger. The actual trigger mechanism itself has also been modified. I've got a 22 caliber casing in there, shell casing, with spring modification to the sear spring. Lighten that up to give it a nice soft trigger pull. I've polished the hammer and sear mechanisms to give it, again, a smooth and light trigger pull. So it's got a really nice trigger. I wouldn't quite say it's a hair trigger, but it's pretty darn close. It's a lot better than how it comes by default, or by the stock version. So that's pretty much it. I guess as far as performance goes, I've cronied this at about 530 feet per second. The stock power level is about 460, or no, I'm sorry, it's about 420 feet per second. So I'm getting this up to about 530. Now that's with 14 pumps. I could probably technically pump it up to 20 if I wanted to and get a little more power, but 20 is a lot of pumps. I stick to about 10 to 14 normally. So I've got an increase of about 100 feet per second through all the mods that I've done. I'd say that's pretty considerable, considering the fact that when you get an air rifle, you're usually just limited to how powerful the factory made it. So it's nice that on these Crosmans you can do these power mods and get some more power out of it. But this is actually a really nice rifle, air gun. I have shot pigeons with it before, and it really does a number on them. I like to use either Crosman hollow points or Predator polymag pellets. Sometimes even Gamma rocket pellets work pretty good. This is a 22 cal. So that's pretty much it. I just wanted you to take a look at this air gun, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.